Yes, indeed. We're live. It's Ringside Report MMA. Tonight on the show is Conor McGregor going to main event UFC 300, and we preview UFC Vegas 80.
Let's go!
Let's go. Vámonos, muchachos. Where are the muchachos? There they are.
What's up, amigo?
What's up, muchacho? Get your microphone closer to your face so I could hear you, AJ. How about that?
Can you hear that? Buenos cumpleaños. Happy birthday.
Thank you. Feliz.
David Simon.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, dude.
You
didn't get the shout out last week, you know?
Gracias. Happy birthday, Fred.
Dave, maybe AJ could answer, but I'm going to ask you. Like, there's a bunch of games Saturday for baseball, but I don't see the Yankees. When are they playing?
Same time as the Blue Jays and Tampa Rays.
Yeesh. It's tea time. 18 holes, man. It starts now.
I thought you were quoting
golf.
Drake for a second there. I was like, what? Is AJ going tea time? Tea time, tea. I was like, AJ, what are you? I was really surprised, but that's not what you were doing. I was really
Maybe
shocked.
I was. Maybe
Scared
I was. You never know.
You know? You don't know. You guys have no idea what I'm talking about right now.
I think Antoinette probably does. If Antoinette is listening, I know she does. Something with the 6. I know she always says the 6, and I'm like, okay.
Do you know what that is? Do you know what people are talking about when they say the 6, AJ?
My version or probably the real version?
No, when Antoinette says the 619.
I'm thinking it was a code word for sex. You know, instead of saying sex, you say 6. You want to 6 it up? You want to get 60? No?
Fred, you don't know either?
I was going to say, isn't it the 619? Isn't that their area code?
No, 619 is San Diego. That's Rey Mysterio.
San Diego? Oh,
that's Rey Mysterio. That's where Rey Mysterio's from.
All right, I got no clue what the 6 stands for then.
Well, it's Toronto.
What?
416.
Is it?
People say the 6. I think Drake
416. That's
popularized that. When people say the 6, 416 is their area code in Toronto, and the 6 is what people call Toronto these days. Sometimes a lot of people.
Not 60. So you're saying Toronto's not 60?
5-4-4-5-0.
What do you mean?
4-5-0.
That's what the French rappers will go. 5-4-4-5-0.
Really?
So they go 514-50. So they got both area codes, you know.
They give
514-450.
They give no shout outs to the 438, the French rappers from here?
Well, the thing is I'm going to show my age, and I'm going for a rap that's probably like 20 years old. So the 438 probably didn't exist back then.
438, I don't even know it existed now.
AJ, you don't know that a 438 exists? You didn't know that was an area code here?
514. If it's not 514, I'm not picking up. Unless it's 450. I know 450 South Shore. That's Freddie.
I got a 438,
man. How do I pick up with you? Well, that's because your name is on there.
Fred, Leor's saying your mic is like, you need a new mic, but I don't think it's your mic. I think your volume on your thing is like too loud. So when
6
you're talking,
it up, Freddie. 6 it up.
I think when you're talking, it's like it's like too hot. It's like popping. Give me a check.
That's what she said.
Oh, now it's not loud enough. Hold on, give me another check.
check. I put it.
It's a good thing we did the check before the show.
It
goes from 0 to 10, so I put it from 9.
Okay, good. Don't put it at 10. Give me a check again.
Check.
Oh, that's perfect. See, this is what I'm talking about.
Give me a beat, Freddie. Go.
This is how we fix things on the show. This is how we do it. This is how we do it. Now, Fred probably knows that song, right? AJ might even know that one. I am surprised. I'm surprised that Fred didn't know about the 6. I thought Fred would know what the 6 was. I kind of figured AJ wouldn't, but I feel like that's been pretty popular for a long time. Well, I guess that's what happens when you get older, right? That's what I have to look forward to in my 40s, just being completely out of touch with all the young rapper stuff, right?
You don't have to wait for your 40s. It might happen before.
I don't know. It hasn't happened yet. I seem like aware of some stuff. I'm not as aware as I used to be. Huh?
I said you're always the last one. Like everybody's the last one to realize that they're out of it. So
yeah,
I'm just saying.
No, I'm sure. No, I know I am out of it. I know I'm not like in it the way I was, but at least I know what the 6 is. All right, AJ.
Yeah, but it doesn't make sense. You got a 4 before it and then a 1 before it. Why the 6?
I don't know.
Why don't you just call it the 4, man?
Ask Drake.
Welcome
You're supposed to book him on the show years ago. So get it together.
I'm trying to. I'm like, it's not easy with this Drake. I just got to keep handling him. Like, you're always losing money with everybody else. Make money with Ringside. If he would have listened to us the last couple of weeks. Well, he's lost some big money, Dave. Fred, he's lost some big money.
I think he's doing all right.
I think he won with the Jake fight. The Jake fight, I think he won.
Leor knows, 416.
Leor knows that.
Shout out Leor. Leor, a member over at join.ringsidereport.net. Angelo in the chat as well. Shout out to Angelo, member over at join.ringsidereport.net. Become a member of the team. We need more members. We need to get that Drake money, get that private jet. Huh?
And listen, if it's up to me, all the members of like Ringside, like the paying members, man, I'm taking you guys with me, man. It's gonna be crazy. Let me plan the party. Trust me, you're gonna like it.
You might need an accountant for that, okay? Because I'm not sure if people give us money for a private jet, they better give us a lot of money if you want to have enough room for all of them.
Dude, I'm gonna take it like Russian style, man. I'm gonna let it go loco, like AJ, WWE. All the wrestlers up there, man, with like when they were in the plane and they went crazy. You remember that story?
Yeah.
You remember that?
The
when
plane
Brock
ride from
Lesnar
hell
went like loco?
Yeah.
Yeah, the plane ride from hell.
I saw the dark side of the ring. But Fred has a good point, AJ. It's $5 a month per member, right? So if we're gonna get so many members that we get a private jet, I don't think we'd be able to fit all the members in the plane. There'd be so many people. Wait. You know how expensive private jets are? $5 a person over.
Listen, man.
I don't know.
The OGs.
You won't even pay for the pilot.
Listen, Leor, Angelo, Wally, Doug, Pat, Antoinette, the crew, the original crew, man. You're coming with us.
AJ just excluded a bunch of fantastic members that we have.
Well, yeah, you guys too. You know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to cut it short. Else Dave was gonna kick me out of the show again.
I love doing that. I love kicking you off the show, but I really don't want to do it tonight because you're wearing the right kind of hat, AJ. You're wearing a nice Yankees hat. Fred, with his Astros hat, I'm not liking that as much. But
Astros, man, they're a winning team, dude. You got to be like the Astros.
Yeah, exactly. Buzzing. Yeah. Ridiculous.
Hit that garbage can, man.
Leor says he's only getting on the jet if AJ is the pilot. Well, Leor, you'll be the only one on that jet because no one else will get on.
Listen, man, if there's I'm just saying, if there's I don't want to say if
the scary part is AJ
stuff, then it'll get wild. What?
The scary part is AJ and Leor will be the only two people in the jet, and AJ will be the one partying the most hard, probably. So yeah, I'm not sure I want to be in that jet.
No, it sounds like a terrible jet to be on.
You're going to have a blast, man. Wouldn't it be fun? I'm telling you, man.
Why is AJ saying there's going to be cocaine in the jet? There's no cocaine.
Well, usually
you don't do drugs, AJ. I don't know what you're talking about.
To, if I get maybe Jake Paul or the Diaz brothers, somebody I have to bring some celebrity up there too, man. You know they're going to want to do it. You know them.
You don't know. You don't know about that. Stop accusing people of doing hard drugs, AJ. Look at you.
Allegedly
accusing your heroes.
I love these guys, but you never know, man. If John Jones is coming on the plane, there's going to be a lot of rails. That's for sure.
Obviously, John Jones likes it. He'd admit to it. He has admitted to it many times. Many times. John Jones has got a big fight coming up.
It's going to be big.
And I want to mention something about John Jones though, and you just say his name, and I think. Have you guys heard the stories about his brother, man? His brother has been going through some weird stuff, man. I don't know if if that's going to affect John Jones and his preparation, because I think the family's pretty close and all that. So, anyways, his brother Chandler played, I think it's for the Raiders, and they ended up like putting him under surveillance, medical surveillance, because they were scared of him doing something stupid or who knows what. They were scared that he might endanger his own life. And at the beginning, the Raiders, they covered for him. They just said like, oh, Chandler Jones has some personal issues. That's why he's not here right now, blah, blah, blah. But then Chandler went on Twitter or Instagram, said a bunch of crazy stuff. And at some point, the Raiders just cut him. And Chandler Jones is one of the best players at his position in the NFL. He's a legit star. Like, so for them to get rid of him, something must be going wrong with Chandler Jones.
Yeah, he's posted some strange videos. I think he was arrested recently, right?
Yeah, also. But I think he got arrested because they were fearing for him doing something stupid like suicidal or something. That's the understanding I got from it.
And the Raiders, the Las Vegas Raiders, have released him.
That sucks.
After the arrest. And yeah, he's 33 years old. He's an all-pro NFL football player, and it seems like he's having some mental health issues. And yeah, it's definitely a story.
When I heard about it,
he's a big-name NFL player.
Yeah, like when I heard about it, I don't follow the NFL much these days, so I wish him the best. The first thought should be for him and his health. But the second thing that came to my mind was like, I wonder if that's going to affect John Jones, because to me, John Jones always seemed to be close to his brother and his brothers and his family. So it must in some way affect him. And he has a fight coming up in a couple of weeks. So in the middle of his training camp to be going through some family issues. But with that said, John Jones has had a pretty rock and roll life. So it's not the first time his training camp gets disturbed, probably.
Yeah. I don't know if anything can. Sure. I don't think anything stops John Jones. I don't think anything does. But when I saw Chandler Jones arrested in Las Vegas, I was like, no. They must mean John Jones arrested in Las Vegas, because we've seen that headline before. But no, this guy was his brother arrested. And, I don't know what's going on there. People are saying CTE. People are saying it's a mental health issue. It could be a combination of both. I don't know. But I wish him the best, man. It seems like he's definitely going through something, and hopefully he can pull out of it and come out the other end better off. But, yeah, it's weird, man. It's a weird story, the whole Chandler Jones thing. And
he's young, man. He's only 33 years old.
I say nothing could stop John Jones and this and that, but, like, if this is your brother, it's tough, man.
Yeah, and they're close, like Freddie said. I remember seeing an interview, and all three brothers are super tight. So, I mean, I'm sure it's not easy on the family. I'm sure it's not easy for him, like, for training camp. I'm sure it's in the back of your mind, but it really depends on, what the issue is, man. Concussions, like in football, are like in any sport, but in football, for some reason or another, man, it's pretty high. And, like, unfortunately, football players that have played many years and are much older, man, there's a lot of wear and tear and a lot of, like, mental health issues. So,
and a lot of these guys,
I wish him the best.
They don't live. Also, and I'm just speculating, but a lot of these guys, they live the party life, the high life. That catches up to you at some point. And we know John Jones kind of likes that life also. So
yeah.
Anyways, I hope him the best. And if we're gonna continue talking that fight, I was just as surprised when I saw Stipe. He's still working as a fireman during his training camp, which was kind of surprising when I read that.
He always does that, though. He never stops.
Yeah. He never lets
stops.
Go. Yeah, he's a beast, man.
The Chandler Jones thing makes me wonder.
There's one thing with this guy.
Sorry, just the Chandler Jones thing. Like, it makes me wonder about him, about his brother. Like, because John Jones has had some issues, And then you're seeing it with Chandler Jones, and you wonder, like, what's going on? Is this a genetic thing happening with them? Was it something growing up? Because they're both guys that, they're not behaving like most people behave. And with Chandler, it might be something else. But with John, like, it's hard to explain the behavior with John Jones. It depends. Like, you could say money and foolishness and da-da-da, but, like, a lot of people have money and are young and dumb, but they don't do the things that John Jones has done. It just makes me wonder, like, when I see his brother getting in trouble, I go, man, another Jones getting into this, getting into some stuff. It's weird.
But on the fair side with John Jones, it's been a couple of years now and plus where he's been pretty good, man. And
it hasn't been a couple years, I don't think. Well, it's not been that long. More or less, dude. When was he arrested in Vegas for like attacking his wife?
Months.
Huh? His wife and daughter had to call the cops on him. When did that happen?
That's more than a year ago.
Yeah,
wasn't it like after his last fight or something like that?
I'm telling you.
It was a while ago, but it still
wasn't
that
the
long
last
ago.
One with Cyril Gane, that's for sure. It was the one prior to that. That's right. Yeah. So it's about 2 years, if not even more, 2.5. So the thing is that he has gotten a lot better. There's no doubt about it. Even like, when he's like talking and he's tweeting and doing all that kind of stuff, you could see like there's a softer side to John Jones. And I'm saying that, AJ's saying that. I see that John Jones sort of like is trying to keep himself like on the straight path, It's too bad with the brother, man. That's
been 2 years. September 24th.
Okay, so just 2 years.
At 2021.
Just about 2 years. Okay.
Way to go, John.
Wow. John Jones has gone just about 2 years without getting arrested. Good for him. Good for him.
I saw a video. I saw a video this week of John Jones talking about the Dominic Reyes fight, and I almost sent it to AJ. But if I would have done that, AJ would have just like went crazy because John Jones is in it saying that that's one of the toughest matchups, like a adversity he had to face. That Reyes really pushed him, and he had to focus. But in the end, John Jones won. So let's not forget that. But
yeah,
John Jones himself said that Reyes was one of the biggest adversaries he had to face. So
he beat
that
him.
One was for you, AJ.
He beat him though, AJ.
Thanks, bud.
Of course.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah.
Okay, so John Jones is fighting at UFC 295. It's in November. It's at Madison Square Garden. Next UFC pay-per-view coming up in a couple of weeks' time on the 21st of the month, UFC 294. But I want to talk a little bit about UFC 300, which is going to happen, let's see. They go month by month, right? And UFC 297 looks like it's going to be in Toronto. So 297 January, 298 February, 299 March, 300 would be in April. Right? Have I got that right, Fred? Yes? Maybe?
Approximately. Yeah.
Yeah.
It should be, man. Usually it's one a month. Sometimes, it's every 3 weeks or whatever. But yeah, usually it's one a month.
So say it's in April, right? What can they get for that? Who can they have? Who could main event an April pay-per-view? So Conor McGregor, he's been talking.
There you go.
As he likes to do. Oh, where's my Conor? Oh, that didn't stick. What's happening? Trying to switch over to Conor, and it won't let me. It does for half a second, and then it doesn't go to Conor. Well.
Say something, Conor.
I don't know. I had a thing.
Come on, Conor. Don't be shy.
I'm like pressing it, and it doesn't go.
Damn.
Maybe I can get some help here. Little help.
Where's the production guys? Where's the production guys?
I don't know. Not around.
They're watching another show.
I don't know what's happening. Yeah, give me that.
They're like, screw the ringside report. We'll just watch like.
There we go. Okay. I don't know why that's not working.
Oh, there you go.
But it wasn't working. So here's Conor McGregor posting on Instagram. And here he is. Find my targets. Hit them. Fuck the consequences. You're going down. This is fighting. Sparring day with Slick Grozdev Nikolai. Always a banger of a spar with the slick fella. Submitted my stuff to Nowitzki, who is the guy from USADA. So he said he submitted his stuff to Nowitzki. Ball rolling. Soccer ball emoji. See you soon. You little light work bitch. I guess he's talking about Michael Chandler, but there's Conor McGregor 20 hours ago saying that he has submitted his stuff to USADA. So let me get this straight here. October, November, December, January, February, March.
April, man.
Whoop! That's 6 months, baby. April. He could be fighting in April as the main event of UFC 300. If he really did submit his paperwork, if he really is in the USADA testing pool and can test clean for the next 6 months, he could fight Michael Chandler in the main event of UFC 300 in April. Let's go.
You think he wants to fight Michael Chandler?
Oh, yeah.
I think so. I think that's the fight. I don't think he can get out of it at this point. Chandler's waited his turn. You know, the UFC has given him that fight. Who else does he fight?
Diaz for the trilogy.
Yeah. Okay. But then, I mean,
that's been brought up.
You kind of screwed over Michael Chandler if you don't give him the Conor fight. You strung him along for a really long time if you're the UFC here, and he doesn't get rewarded?
Yeah, you're right.
Seems kind of shitty.
But
I mean, if Conor says he doesn't want to fight him, Dana's gonna is gonna like listen to Conor,
I guess.
But
which is the bigger fight?
If it's not Chandler, I don't see who it is. Like off the air, I told you, like if by miracle Tony Ferguson beats Paddy Pimblett, Ferguson would be the perfect adversary for McGregor because that's a winnable fight for McGregor. But I doubt that happens. Tony, I think, is really on the downside of his career, and I don't think people, even if he were to beat Paddy Pimblett, I'm not sure people would be that interested in him fighting Conor. Maybe. I mean, it's Conor, but.
Yeah, Freddie, but it's not going to happen. I mean, Paddy is just too good. And Ferguson is really like, he shouldn't even be taking this fight. He should have retired. He should have walked away. But, this is going to be the ending fight for him, unfortunately. It would be amazing to see Ferguson against Conor, but, I could see Diaz before all of them, to be honest. Like I was saying, which is the bigger fight?
If they can get Nate back in the UFC, sign him to main event that UFC 300 card against Conor, I think that for most MMA fans, it would be a more exciting matchup. I think it would sell better than the Michael Chandler fight. But I think they'll sell pretty good doing Chandler and McGregor. And win or lose, you could still sell Nate and Conor down the road. Like, he doesn't have to beat Michael Chandler to fight Nate Diaz, Whereas, if he lost to Nate Diaz, I think it'd be a real tough sell to get that Michael Chandler fight in. You know what I'm saying? Because if you lose to Diaz, then it's like, well, you're kind of done. And then maybe he never fights Michael Chandler, I think you give Chandler the fight, you roll the dice with Conor, you see what he can do. And if he can beat Michael Chandler, then hey, he's in the mix. Maybe you give him a title shot, right? And you got your star back if you're the UFC. The ball is rolling. He's in the drug testing pool. He's happy. He's knocking people out. The leg held up. He just knocked out Michael Chandler. Let's go. The McGregor train is back on track. Let's rush him to a title fight. Let's put him in another big pay-per-view by the end of 2024. I think that would be the ultimate plan for the UFC. I don't know if Conor beats Michael Chandler, but I think it's a good fight. I think it's a winnable fight for Conor. I think it's winnable.
Yep.
Depends which Conor shows up, but I think it's a winnable fight for him. Depends which Chandler shows up. I mean, both of these guys are not getting any younger. Chandler's in his late 30s. He's been inactive for a really long time now. It's a winnable fight for Conor, but I don't know who I would pick,
Listen,
It's a
you're
tough
going up
fight to
against a
pick.
southpaw. Let's not forget. And Conor looks good, man. He's looking good. He's looking like he looks good. Come on, guys. He's looking determined, man, and I think he wants to be back. I think, the pressure's got to him.
I'm not convinced.
I'm telling you, there's going to be a new Conor,
the fine looking good, AJ. The fine looking good.
Well, his training camp, I seen him with,
his
saw
body,
his jiu-jitsu training. I saw his striking. He looks, it's his mental state. I agree with you, Freddie. It's the mental state, and
no, it's his focus and dedication. Because I see him everywhere. I see him like at basketball games. I see him everywhere at parties, etc. So that to me tells me like this guy is not in the gym 5-6 days a week. Man. He's not giving you hours of training every week. He's not doing that, man. So I don't know, man. He has natural talent. But he's a great fighter, but I don't think he's back. And also like his physique, he looks like, he's been juicing. Like, let's be honest.
But
he's been
if
juicing
he can pass
for a while,
the test,
but
he'll be all right.
Yeah, all he needs is 2 negative tests in the next 6 months, and he's in. But the truth is this, Freddie, I agree with you. You see him all over the place, but he hasn't been fighting. And to be honest, he was training more than some other fighters. Like, even now, you want to talk about Paddy. Paddy finishes a fight, and then he gains like almost 20-something, 30 pounds. I mean, Conor's always been relatively in shape, even though he's like an international like jet setter. But right now, it's 6 months. I think the next 6 months, you're going to see a focused Conor. If he's able to get that drug testing through, we got 6 months. And most of these guys, man, are not training 6 months to get into a fight. I think Conor the partying is done, and now it's the serious stage. I think Conor is going to be a Conor 2.0 coming into 2024, man.
I wish I wasn't lazy. Because if I wasn't lazy, I would go back and listen to all the shows we did before Conor's last fight. And like when you said Conor 2.0, I'm ready to bet $100 AJ used that phrase on the last time when he prepped up Conor, when he hyped him up to everybody. Yeah. I bet all those cliches you used the last time. So yeah, we'll see, man. I'll believe it when I see it, but
I'm telling you, Freddie, he's going to be focused, man. I think there's it's a different Conor, man. I'm just saying I think a lot of people are going to be surprised, and I think Conor is going back for his belt.
Okay.
I'm not saying he's going to win it. But
how about this? UFC 300, say we get Conor McGregor, Michael Chandler as the main event.
Mm-hmm.
What else do you want on that card? What are some dream fights we need at UFC 300? What are some big fights you want to see? It's kind of hard to tell now because we are like 7 months out, and I think certain fights need to happen before we really find out what's going on. But what are some fights that you think we might see, or some fighters? Like, it doesn't have to be necessarily a single fight, because who knows? Like Islam Makhachev, Charles Oliveira next month or later this month, maybe Charles knocks out Islam, and that's one of the fights on the card. They do like a rematch. Who knows, right? I'm saying you never know, but what are some matchups or some guys you want to see? Freddie?
Well, you're saying, it's UFC 300, so maybe they're going to stack up the card, but look at past history with Conor McGregor. Often they try to sell us that card based on Conor McGregor. So I don't know how much they're planning. Like, if the plan is to have Conor McGregor on UFC 300, he's going to cost them a lot of money. I don't know if they're going to stack it up like they did like UFC 200 or UFC 100. We'll see. But if by then, I don't know, man, who would be give me... John Jones will probably beat Stipe, and he might retire after. So who knows? A heavyweight title fight, something could happen maybe on that card to.
You need a heavyweight.
To add another big matchup.
When it's a 300, you need a big heavyweight.
Yeah. I saw Johnny North in the chat say Brock Lesnar versus John Jones.
You know what? How about looking at a guy like Israel Pereira? Something like, where, you really get the fireworks flying for 300. Man, that's a big number. That's, many years for the UFC to get where they've got. 300 has to be like amazing. Beyond amazing.
We're talking about what would be on that card, so I'm not sure how much they stacked that card. You know, Conor McGregor, he costs a lot of money. He's taking a lot of that share of money that's going to be made on that fight card. So maybe they add another title fight because it's UFC 300. You know, it's a marquee event. Off the bat right now, I'm not sure. Who knows? Like if Stipe and if John Jones retires after beating Stipe, maybe we get a heavyweight title fight on that fight card. Maybe we get something else. I'm not sure.
I was trying to say to have something else on that, it has to be a fireworks kind of card. It's 300. That's a big number, man. It's, you know, the UFC's been around for a while, but that 300 mark has to be spectacular. I mean, I like to see somebody like Israel on there with Pereira. You know, something where like every fight from the beginning, from the prelims all the way through, man, it has to be these fights where you're like, oh my God, I want to see that. I want to see a Paddy Pimblett. I want to see Islam. I want to see Shafkat. I want to see as many people as you can fill into that card as possible, that people could just step back and say, holy shit, man, the UFC are at a different level. It's 300, man. That's incredible. I remember UFC 1 as many decades ago, dude. So just think about it.
You know, you guys make a lot of good points. Guys like Shavkat Rakhmonov, guys like maybe Magomed Ankalaev. Maybe they do a John Jones fight, but I think I think John Jones and Conor McGregor on the same card is just a dream that we're never going to see. But what was UFC 100, Fred? Yeah. UFC 100 was what? GSP and Brock Lesnar on the same card?
Yeah, it was Thiago Alves and GSP and Brock Lesnar and Frank Mir, and there was also Bisping against Dan Anderson. John Jones was on that card, I think, against Jake O'Brien. And I don't really remember the other fights.
Yeah, but those are big fights, man. Those are really big fights.
Actually, the main event was John Fitch.
Was it?
Jeez.
Well, because back then, you know, the pay-per-views had like a 3-hour window, so they had to like John Fitch was like the swing match, if you want, the match that, hey, if we have time, we're gonna put you. If not, you're fighting at the end of the day, at the end of the card.
Yeah,
and he ended up fighting after Brock Lesnar.
I remember when they used to do that. That was super weird. They just like ran out of time for prelims, so they'd put them on, and then the pay-per-view was over. The swing bout. Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, but I mean, UFC 100 was a pretty massive card. You had a lot of stars
there. And so was
there.
200. 200 was, I think, Daniel Cormier and Anderson Silva, and it was supposed to be Daniel Cormier and John Jones, if I remember correctly, and it ended up being Anderson Silva and Cormier, and I'm pretty sure there was some other big fights on that one.
Brock Lesnar and Mark Hunt.
Yeah.
Amanda Nunes and Miesha Tate was the main event for that. Daniel Cormier and Anderson Silva was on that. Jose Aldo, Frankie Edgar, and Cain Velasquez, Travis Brown. I mean, that's a pretty stacked pay-per-view. So if we're comparing 100 and then 200, 300's got to compare. I think you have to have Brock Lesnar on this card. He was at 100. He was at 200. UFC and WWE are the same company now. I think you got to pull out a guy like Brock Lesnar. You got to get Brock Lesnar versus John Jones. Give us a super fight. Give us Brock Lesnar versus Fedor. Give us something absolutely crazy that we thought we would never, ever see. Conor McGregor, Michael Chandler is cool, but I think you should add to that. I don't think that's enough for UFC 300. Like, you can't have some guys that we haven't really heard of on a pay-per-view for UFC 300. I don't want to see that. You know? Like, I'm looking at UFC 294, and we've got to fight, like, Saeed Nurmagomedov against Muin Gafurov. I don't want a guy named Muin Gafurov that I've never heard of, or anybody that I've never heard of, on a UFC 300 pay-per-view. It's got to be stacked from top to bottom. It can't have anybody you've never heard of. It's got to be all big fights. And I think the UFC knows this. But if I were to fantasy book this thing, I would give you John Jones, Brock Lesnar for the heavyweight championship in the main event. Co-main event would be a 5-round fight between Conor McGregor and Michael Chandler. Then I'd give you Shavkat Rakhmonov or somebody like that, or a Khamzat Chimaev in a big fight to really showcase somebody like that, one of the future guys of the division. Maybe I would give you Israel Adesanya in a middleweight kind of tune-up comeback type of fight, or a big name fighter like Kamaru Usman in that type of fight. I'm talking about big names, former champions, big fights, top to bottom. Those are the types of people I want to see on this card. Usman, Adesanya, Jones, McGregor, Lesnar, Rousey, St. Pierre. These are the kinds of names that should be on this UFC 300 card, and hopefully the UFC delivers, because that's what we need to see. Big fights, gigantic fights, not just big fights, not just one or two big fights, but if you look at the history of these, 100 anniversary cards, UFC 100, UFC 200 were gigantic blockbuster fight cards. Brock Lesnar was on both of them. Enough said.
The beast, man.
I mean, come on.
For sure.
You got to do it really big. And I know that usually these Conor McGregor fight cards are, all about Conor, and the rest of the pay-per-view is whatever, but you can't do that for UFC 300. I think Conor McGregor should co-main event a Brock Lesnar, John Jones main evented card. How sick would that be?
Insane.
Jones, Brock main event, Conor Chandler co-main event. I'll take it.
And listen, man, like I said, you throw in like a Sean Strickland
versus Usman.
Oof, that would be crazy, man.
If Khamzat beats Costa, Khamzat versus Robert Whittaker. Or Khamzat versus Israel Adesanya or Dricus Duplessis. Like one of those guys. Or Sean Strickland. What the hell? Why not?
If Khamzat is impressive, he might jump all the way to Strickland. So
yeah. Put him on that card, too. If Conor McGregor doesn't want to not be the main event, like Lior's like, I don't know if Conor would accept not being the main event. He's going to get paid he's in the main event. It doesn't really matter. It's a double main event with Brock Lesnar and John Jones.
That's the thing. I said at the beginning. I doubt it. I would say no, because Conor McGregor is not about splitting the pie with other big names, man. He wants that pie for himself, man. And I don't blame him, man. So why would he? He wants to get the most money as possible, and that's hard to do if you stack up the card with a bunch of superstars.
I mean,
yeah, but imagine the pay-per-view sales.
It is and it isn't. Brock gets a flat rate. John Jones would come in as champion with a cut of the pay-per-view. I don't know what Conor
doesn't want a flat rate.
Say it again. Brock doesn't want a flat rate, you don't think?
Point.
I mean, Brock's flat rate is pretty big, man. I don't think he needs points. I just pay him, $25 million for one fight. Fair enough. This is where you break the bank if you're the UFC. Plus, if you had Brock and Jones and Conor and Chandler on the same card, they'd sell like 10 million pay-per-views. You know what I mean? It would be ridiculous. Everybody would buy that shit. Who wouldn't buy that shit? Everybody would buy that. You're telling me John Jones, greatest fighter of all time, fresh off beating Stipe, takes on the monster Brock Lesnar, who comes back to fight him in this mega pay-per-view matchup, and you have Conor McGregor's comeback fight. Same card, it would sell billions of pay-per-views. It would be nuts. Conor would cash in. You get a small percentage of that pay-per-view, you're making bank. You're buying 10 other yachts. He might buy a yacht for AJ. Based on how AJ just loves him and talks about him all the time.
Yeah, man. Come here, Conor.
Lior says they could make UFC 300 a 2-night extravaganza like WrestleMania. Not necessary. Not necessary.
It could be interesting.
No, please.
But it wouldn't happen.
Yeah, let's not. So UFC 300, I think is going to be blockbuster.
Insane.
I think it's going to be money. Yeah. I'm looking forward to it.
That's money in the bank.
So we have fights this weekend that are not as magnificent, not as exciting, not as cool.
That's 60. Not as 60, that's for sure.
It's Dawson versus Green. Quick, Fred, what's Dawson's first name?
I checked earlier. I think it's Grant.
Wait.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, man, I was going to throw in
It's Chad.
Like a clue.
No. That's somebody else.
Chad Dawson, that's a boxer.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why I was wondering if Dawson was white or black.
Because you thought he was Chad Dawson. Yes.
Yeah, or Andre Dawson. I mean, all the Dawsons I know are black, man. So,
Andre Dawson, man, one of the greatest baseball players ever, man.
Wow. I mean, Grant is a pretty white name, so that should tell me, like.
What about Grant Hill?
I mean, some people would say he played for Duke. So.
The only Grant guy, the only guy whose first name is Grant I know is a black guy called Grant Hill. Great NBA player, played for forever in the NBA somehow. He was like hurt for many years, and then he like reemerged. I was like, he's still on the team. Crazy, legend.
Duke's like the whitest college team there is.
Are they? I don't know. I don't know about basketball sports. I know about Grant Hill, though. That guy was cool. All right. Grant Dawson, he's no Grant Hill, let me tell you.
Well,
I mean, he's on a good winning streak, man. He's on a good winning streak.
Oh, I think he's going to win this fight. I just don't care about it. You know what I mean? I just, whatever. It's at the Apex. It's on Saturday. What? Huh?
He's 8-0-1, man.
8-0-1?
Yep.
What does that mean?
One draw.
In his last several fights or in the UFC?
The UFC.
Yeah, in the UFC, man.
21-1 in his UFC, in his MMA career, which is pretty damn impressive. And he's looking really good. He's looking like a prospect off that Dana White Contender Series. So many great fighters are coming off that team or that show. He's from the American Top Team, 29 years old, out of Wisconsin. Grant Dawson looking to make a name for himself against Bobby Green, who just beat Tony Ferguson in his last outing back in July. Bobby Green, a UFC veteran. He's had some wins. He's had some losses. You might call him a journeyman, but that seems like a mean thing to say about a fighter. So we just call him a guy who's won and lost some fights. 30-14. Would you call him a journeyman? Is that a fair term to use for Bobby Green? 30-14?
Pretty much. In boxing, he would be called exactly that. So it would be the same for the UFC. That would be a very nice
journeyman.
Is that mean to call somebody a journeyman? It means a man who takes many journeys, right?
And he had a long career, man. That's not bad.
He's a veteran,
I mean, he's never been elite, but he's never been like top 3, 5, whatever. But he's been there for so many years, man. That's a good career, man. Would you want to have like a 20-year mediocre career, like an average career, or just a 3-year excellent career? I don't know, man. So
yeah,
listen, man. He beat Al Iaquinta. He beat Tony Ferguson, man. He's got some good names under his belt. You know, Bobby Green's been there a while. Yeah, man. He's been there for a while, but
Clay Guida,
you know,
Bernie, man,
Clay Guida. Like, you can't you can't disregard Bobby Green, but Dawson, man, you know, just as a grappler and a wrestler, man, it's gonna be hard for Bobby, man. And Bobby's first thing that he said was, "Oh, I'm gonna take him down to the ground." And I'm like, I don't think Bobby, I don't think you should be doing that, man. You know, Bobby McGee, man, it ain't happy. Oh, Bobby McGreen.
If you go to bet99.ringsidereport.net, which I encourage you to do, bet99.ringsidereport.net, you'll be able to see that Bobby Green right now is a pretty heavy underdog. Plus 325, Grant Dawson minus 425, the favorite. So everybody expecting Grant Dawson to come off victorious. He's one of the heavier favorites on this card. Joe Pyfer in the co-main event takes on Abdul Razak Al Hassan. Pyfer minus 450, the favorite. Huge favorite there in the co-main event. We've also got Joaquin Buckley minus 170, the favorite over Alex Morono. Drew Dober, big favorite, minus 450 over Rick Glenn.
Ricky.
And, a lot of fights here on this card. Not the most intriguing of matchups here as far as like big names, but we might have some good fights come Saturday night. I like MMA. I like watching fights, so we'll see what we get here. We'll see what we get. I got a parlay for you. I'll give you my parlay right off the bat. All right? It's not bad actually. I'm going to start off the night with an underdog pick. See if I can get this to work. Did this work? It didn't work.
Damn.
Let me see. No. Give me that. There we go. Okay. We're starting at the beginning of the night with J.J. Aldrich.
JJ?
Trying to give you the rest of this. And for some
Who'd you take with that one?
I can't goddamn give you the rest of my parlay. Oh, it's one of those nights, guys. Things are not working at all for me.
It's okay, man. Go. We all have COVID, I think. It's a nice warm night outside.
I don't think I have COVID.
Chill.
But nothing.
The last day being warm, man. Tomorrow it goes down and fucking winter next week, pretty much.
Fuck.
What?
Oh, I hate winter so goddamn much.
Me too.
This country's stupid. Okay. I got J.J. Aldrich in the opener as an underdog over Montana De La Rosa, plus 120. I like that as an underdog, plus 120. I got Johnny Munoz over Arichi Lang. That fight is a pick'em. I'm going with Karolina Kowalkiewicz over Diana Belbita. And I've got Grant Dawson in the main event, minus 425. $20 with a plus 754 parlay gets you 170.71 over at bet99.ringsidereport.net. You go with Team Dave, and you could be cashing in. Team Dave cashed in on the last fight night a couple weeks ago, and these are my best bets for this weekend. I'm going with Aldrich, Munoz, Kowalkiewicz, and Dawson. 20 gets you 170. It's not bad. Not a bad
at
parlay.
All. It's just that the Carolina fight, I'm a bit nervous, man.
I am not that nervous about Karolina because she's fighting Diana Belbita.
Yeah, but like
Karolina has looked really good in her past couple fights. I don't know if you've been paying attention to Karolina, but she's had a resurgence.
Yes. You know,
I don't think Belbita is UFC.
Is exactly the
I don't
same,
think Belbita's UFC caliber. Yeah, they have the same record, but if you look at who they fought, like Karolina, her losses, it's to the upper echelon of the division. Belbita, her losses are to some people where you're like, oh, come on.
Yeah, she's got 3 wins in a row. I mean, but she lost 5 fights before that.
Yeah, to some very tough people. She had a downturn in her career, but like I said, her past 3 fights, her performances have been very good. She's looked back to her, championship level form. So I'm going with Karolina. You go with whoever the fuck you want, AJ. All right?
Yeah, man. No,
Give me your picks.
Man, it's tough.
Give me your picks, Jabroni. What you got?
You want me to go or Freddie, man?
Well, yeah,
you want me to go?
Freddie? No, I mean, you're shitting on my picks, so let's see what you got.
So I'm going to start off the night with Grant Dawson, man. I think Grant Dawson is going to make Bobby pay the price for wanting to get down to the ground. So listen, if anybody's going to get submitted, I'm not saying Bobby has never been submitted in his career, but if it happens, it's going to happen on Saturday night against Grant Dawson. So Grant Dawson for the pick. Joe Pfeiffer, man, there's my pick. I mean, he's going up against a 37-year-old Hassan. Wow. Heavy hands, a lot of power. He has pretty good, movement and kicks. But, man, he isn't that fast. Joe Pfeiffer, I want to say Pfeiffer. Pfeiffer or Pfeiffer?
Pfeiffer with a P.
What do they say in England? Is it a silent P?
They say, fuck off, AJ, you wanker.
Then I'm going to go with, this is a tough one, man. This, you know what? This is the toughest one for me to call because Alex Moreno, man, he's one tough beast, man.
Moreno.
He has 1 KO in his last 10 fights. Man. But Buckley will have definitely the power, man. This guy is in shape. He's got the cardio. But if he doesn't win in the first couple of rounds, man, it's going to be a tough night. Okay, I'm going with Buckley on this, man. Pass me the Buckley.
I don't trust Buckley. Sure, I would lay off this fight.
I know, man. This is a tough one, Dave. I'm telling you, it's a tough one.
Your first 2 picks were minus 425 and minus 450 favorites. So you're going with Buckley, who's minus 170. It's your first kind of tougher pick of the night. You still went with the favorite, but Okay.
Well, listen, man, it could go sour for Buckley. If Buckley doesn't take advantage of his power right off the bat, man, he has to be super aggressive and just overwhelm Alex, man. If not, it's going to be a tough one.
I think he's going to lose. I don't think Buckley's going to win. I don't like that pick at all, AJ. Go ahead.
Okay, but I'm going with Buckley on that one.
Yeah, I know.
And then, listen, man, I've been pretty good with my 5-fight parlays, man. I'm just thinking Buckley might be able to do it. And then I'm going to go with Drew Dober, man. Drew Dober for the win here.
Another minus 450 pick. All right, good.
Yep.
Okay. Is that
I'm going to leave it at that. I was going to go with Kutalaba there, but I'm going to stay away from that fight as well.
You're not picking the Hernandez-Algio fight, which is also on the main card?
Oh, yes, that's right. I forgot about my Hernandez
You usually give
fight.
me 5 fights for the main card.
Yes, I
You've
apologize,
only given me 3
man.
or 4.
Yes, I apologize. You're right. So on that fight, I'm going to go with it's a tough fight too, man. This is a tough one. But I'm going to go with Hernandez. And that's another guy who has to win in the first or second round, man. He comes out strong, but he tends to gas out. I'm going with Alex Hernandez, man. He's coming down in weight. Super strong guy, man. You know, great grappler, great striking. It's going to be interesting. But I'm giving it to Hernandez on this one.
All right. Hey, we got some things working here. I love it. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, there's AJ's parlay. Let me see if I can show it to you maybe one day.
Show it to me, man.
I'm trying to, motherfucker. God damn it.
Whip it out, bud. Show it.
What? So there's AJ's parlay. Minus 425 Grant Dawson. Minus 450 Joe Pyfer. Minus 170 Joaquin Buckley. Minus 450 Drew Dober. And plus 100 going with one underdog on the card. Alex Hernandez, it's plus 486. $20 gets you 117.23. Almost as good as my parlay, AJ, and almost as good of a payout as Team Dave. But that's Team AJ. He's going with Hernandez, Dober, Buckley, Pyfer, and Dawson. Fred, do you have a parlay? What you got?
I mean, you shamed AJ for taking a bunch of favorites, and I mean, I'm gonna take the 3 biggest favorites on the card. So
Good
just take the 3 biggest favorites, and that's my parlay.
So Dober, Pyfer, and Dawson.
Exactly.
Wow.
There you go, man.
Well, I'm just wondering why you're going with that parlay. You believe in those guys, or you just want to? You don't care about.
I mean, you're pretty much forcing me to do a parlay, because if I would have said like I don't have a parlay for you guys, you would have said like, "Oh man, you got to have a parlay." So I'm making a parlay, man. I do believe in Dawson. He's on a very good winning streak, and I think he's gonna beat Bobby Green. I like Bobby Green, but he's a journeyman, as we said, and beating Tony Ferguson doesn't mean much these days.
Yeah.
Joe Pyfer, I don't know, man, but I know I'm not crazy about Al Hassan Abdul Razak. I've seen him before, and I'm not very high on him, so I'm gonna take a chance on Joe Pyfer, and I like Drew Dober. Drew Dober is a good fighter. I have no clue who Rick Glenn is. Glenn Rick Rick. Why does he have 2 first name?
Yeah, that's the one fight on your parlay that I don't love. I don't trust Drew Dober at minus 450. I think the other 2 fights are pretty much locks. But Dober at minus 450, I'm not too sure. I think Glenn might beat him. 20 gets you 36.91 over at bet99.com. It's a Team Fred parlay. 3-fight parlay. There it is, just for you.
Don't forget the link, Dave. Mention the link, because it's not like our.
It's up on the
link.
screen. I don't have to mention it. It's up there. You can see it. It's above Fred's head. All right.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Bet99.ringsidereport.net. You happy now?
Thank you. Oh, yeah, I see it now.
All right. I think we're done. Do we have anything else to talk about here, AJ? We've done this.
Man.
We've done that.
Dylan Dennis is pulling out supposedly from his fight with Logan Paul. Mike Perry said that.
No.
That's what Mike Perry says, and Mike Perry says he's the one that's going to be. Anyways, Mike Perry seems to think he's going to be fighting Logan Paul or something. So.
Listen, I'm going to tell you why, Freddie.
People have been speculating for weeks that Dylan Dennis would bail out of this fight, which I wouldn't be surprised, man, because honestly, like, he talks a bunch of trash, but he's not a boxer, man. He's not. I don't know, man. We'll see, man.
No, man. No, you know what? In bare knuckles, he's got the edge. There's no doubt about it. But no, there's no way. There's no way that Dylan Dennis is not fighting. In fact, I was watching Andrew Schultz, his podcast, Flagrant. I love that that podcast, and Dylan Dennis was on it. You got to listen to it. It was completely insane, man. The first 10 minutes of that show was insane, and I can assure you, Dylan Dennis is in top shape. He's ready for the fight. He's not backing away from any fight. No matter what Mike Perry says, Dylan Dennis is showing up. It's going to be a tough fight, man. I'm telling you. Dylan Dennis looks good. Completely nuts, but looks good.
Well, I think the fight is still on because Logan Paul
still is.
Tweeted this a few hours ago. Don't let Dylan fool you. He knows that pulling out again would guarantee no fighter, fight organization, or legit brand will ever work with him because he's an unreliable liar. Not to mention the embarrassment of pussying out against me. I'm going to break this predator physically, mentally, spiritually, and financially. This isn't about just winning the fight. I'm going to destroy his entire life. But truthfully, I don't give a fuck who shows up on October 14th. The man across from me will be knocked out cold.
When did he send this, Logan? Today?
Today at 5:32 p.m. And there's
no way, man. He was on flagrant yesterday, Dylan Dennis, and he was pumped. So there's no way.
Here's Dylan Dennis. He says, Logan is so delusional. He thinks this makes him look good. It's actually crazy. Suing someone isn't a real fighter move. It's a cowardly move. Step down from your moral high ground. People still remember you using a suicide victim for financial gain and clout. Also, be a man and turn on your replies, pussy. Good God almighty. I think they're going to box in like 14 days. But Logan Paul said he's got a broken wrist. But I think they're boxing it. It's less than 14 days, right? It's like...
Yeah, no, October 28th, right? When is that fight?
Oh, my God.
Listen, man. It's going to be a good one, man. And you know what? Listening to that interview with Dylan Dennis, you kind of start liking the guy. He's kind of like a Sanchez, Diaz, and Willie Coyote all put into one, man. This guy is
Willie Coyote.
Is it Willie E. Coyote, man?
It's Wiley Coyote. He's Wiley.
Not
It's not Willie E. Coyote. You thought it was Willie E. Coyote?
Yeah. I thought it was that, man. Regardless, man. Listen, man. That guy is
Willie
you know
E.
what?
Coyote.
I started to like him, man. He is funny. Willie E. Coyote, man. It's not Wiley. Is it Wiley? Like
Wiley Coyote.
I got to check this up now. I thought it was Willie this whole time. Since my childhood, actually. I'd be like, where's Willie?
October 14th. This is supposed to take place a week from Saturday. What?
The 14th?
That is so crazy.
Man.
It's happening like in a week.
Really?
And apparently
Next
Logan
week?
broke his wrist. Like, he's got a broken wrist, but the fight is still on?
What,
I don't know what's going on. I don't know.
He broke his wrist? I don't know, man.
It's crazy, but it's happening in
Is that
going to
be an excuse if he loses? Is that the thing? You know, if he loses, it'll be like, it's because of my broken wrist.
He's not losing.
Dude, man, I'm telling you, Dylan Dennis is... listen to that interview. I'm telling you, it was super fun.
Logan Paul is a minus 580 betting favorite. Sounds about right.
Okay. I'm not sure I want to go there, but anyways, I wanted to
Let's hear it, man.
Go after AJ's fandom. So AJ, man, you respect Marcelo Garcia, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
What happened?
Marcelo Garcia kicked out Dylan Dennis of his gym because of how he acted, man. Dylan Dennis is like a hothead for many, many years. So I got no clue why you would pick him in a sport that he doesn't even compete in right now. So I don't know, man. I'm not even that interested in the fight, but I don't think Dylan Dennis is going to do good, man. He's a great grappler. He's not a boxer, man.
Four-time champion.
Completely different disciplines.
No, you're right, but you know what? It's not like he's. I'm just saying this. Don't underestimate the kid, and you're absolutely right, man. When he was in those days with Marcelo, he was in a dark place, like he says. He's had issues and whatnot. But you know, if you really want to get a good look at Dylan Dennis, take a look at that interview yesterday on Flagrant, man, and you'll see he looks more dangerous than I expected.
He's delusional. But I'll tell you, he is winning a battle, right? Like the war before the fight, he's winning, Dylan Dennis. Like he's got a lot of momentum. He's got a lot of people that are enjoying what he's doing. He's got a lot of people talking about him that were never talking about him in any other circumstance. So there is an aspect of this that he is winning, and I think Logan Paul knows it. I think Logan Paul knows, like, this guy is kind of beating me at the war of words, and, you know, I think he's going to try his best to beat him in the ring, and I think he will, but there's something to what Dylan Dennis is doing. Like, he's having some success getting into Logan Paul's head ahead of the fight.
He did.
He's going to make some money.
For sure.
He's going to make some money. And if this was like a WWE match where it was scripted, hey, the people in WWE might be saying, like, okay, Dylan Dennis is the guy that's going over because he's winning the battle of promos without a doubt. So, but
one thing
he's still not a boxer.
No, he's not.
Listen, man, he's probably not a boxer like a real boxer, but he still has like MMA skills per se. But I'm going to tell you something. You know, listening to his interview as well with Ariel Helwani, man, I was listening to that one. It was fucking crazy. But I'm going to tell you,
Lady Killers. I got to admit that was a good.
Killers. That was a good one, man. That was funny. But I'm just saying, it's like, I think he's winning in the internet battle. He's winning on the social media battle all over the place. And he's winning fans because if you listen to those two interviews between Ariel and the Flagrant guys, I'm telling you, you walk away thinking he's actually pretty funny. But the thing is, did he get into Logan's head? Absolutely. With this whole like trolling stuff that he's been doing with pictures of his fiance and all that kind of stuff, you can see that he got into Logan's head. Logan wants to knock this guy out. There's no doubt about it. But he's got to be careful, man. You know, because if he doesn't play a technical game per se, look, Jake Paul is the better boxer, no doubt about it. I'm just saying. I think Dylan Dennis
is bigger also. Isn't Jake Paul bigger?
Yeah, Logan. Him? Yeah, no, Logan.
Logan.
Jake.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, Logan's bigger than Dylan Dennis.
Yeah,
he
I
is.
think so.
Dylan Dennis looked damn big, man, on those interviews. He looked pretty big, dude. I'll be honest. He looked pretty big.
All right. Well, I think Logan Paul is going to whoop his ass, and it should be pretty entertaining to see. I think Dylan Dennis has won the war of words, but he's definitely stepped over the line, and I think he deserves to get his ass kicked for some of the shit that he said. So it'll be nice to see Logan Paul beat him up, I think. That'll be entertaining. And if Dylan Dennis somehow wins the fight, man, it's going to be terrible. It'll end Logan Paul. Like, I don't know how he mentally recovers from that. If
it might kill his WWE run.
Oh, it would destroy his WWE run. People would just obliterate him. It would be really hard to show his face in public ever again if he lost to Dylan Dennis. So there's a lot of pressure here for Logan Paul in this fight. A lot of pressure. And it's not like the pressure goes away when he goes home, because when he goes home, he sees his lovely wife or fiance, and she is the center of all of this controversy with Dylan Dennis. So it's constant for him. It's in his life. It's in his head. It's affecting his personal life. It's something here that
crazy,
Logan Paul has got himself into with the ultimate troll, Dylan Dennis. And we have a very busy month of October coming up here on the Ringside Report Network. This Saturday night, we've got WWE Fastlane post-show for you right after Fastlane. I'll be on here to break down all the pro wrestling action. The following Saturday, October 14th, is that Dylan Dennis-Logan Paul boxing match that we will cover for you here on the Ringside Report Network. Saturday after that is UFC 294 in the afternoon in Abu Dhabi, Islam Makhachev versus Charles do Bronx Oliveira. And then the Saturday after that, the 28th of October, it is Francis Ngannou versus Tyson Fury. So
that's going to be the knockout, man.
Pretty cool month of October coming up here in the fight game. Every Saturday night, I mean, Fastlane is a mid pay-per-view. I'm not going to lie to you and tell you it's going to be a big show from WWE.
I'm looking at it right now. It looks awful.
Yeah, it's not a good card. But like the NXT show and the Dynamite shows on Tuesday night, that's the big wrestling shows of the week. Fastlane's going to be forgettable, but NXT and Dynamite are going head-to-head on Tuesday night, and they're both doing like ridiculous shows. NXT's going to have John Cena on the show. There's talk of a Roman Reigns appearance. Like, NXT is doing the most on Tuesday, and Dynamite is doing a bunch of stuff. Edge is going to have his first match in AEW. You guys know Edge is in AEW now? Pretty good.
What?
AJ, you know who Edge is?
Yeah.
He came out to a crowd that looked half empty.
Yeah, he did. That's the AEW crowd. But I think Edge, being a Canadian hero, will sell some tickets for the Montreal shows coming up in early December. I expect Edge to sell at least a couple of thousand extra seats just based on Edge, you know? He's the rated R superstar. Adam Copeland, as they're calling him in AEW. All right, if you want to hear me talk about Adam Copeland and AEW and all the wrestling, tune in tomorrow night, 10 p.m. Eastern Time, right after SmackDown. I'll be on here with Johnny North to talk professional wrestling. Thank you to everybody tuning in. Shout out to the members here sticking with us.
Great
Leor,
fight,
Angelo. I see Johnny's in the chat. Johnny will be with us tomorrow night.
We spent Sunday with him. He should have won that fight.
Yeah. Angelo says he liked the ending of Dynamite yesterday, and I am struggling to remember what it was. The Edge and Christian promo. Yeah. It was good, except my PVR cut off because they ran overtime, so I had to watch it on Twitter. Good job, Tony. Because one of their promos, they aired a promo segment that didn't have audio, so they're like, oh, shit. So then they aired it again, but that meant that their show ran overtime, so if you recorded it, it cut off the main part, which was Edge's promo that you wanted to see. Minutes. Yeah, but...
You should always record extra, Dave. That's on you.
I mean, it does. It records an extra, like, 3 or 4 minutes extra, but it was more than that, and it's like, come on, AEW. Get it together. But... they knew that they'd screwed up, so they posted the entire promo on their Twitter, like, immediately, because they're like, we screwed that one up. But then the whole punchline to the promo, like, it was Edge saying, Christian, I want to be tag team partners with you again. We need to finish our careers together as partners. And then the whole punchline is Christian hugs him, and then he leans in, and he says, fuck off. Or, he says, go fuck yourself. But the whole thing was censored. Like, I watched the promo, and it's like, and it's like, okay, well, what did he say? The punchline of the thing was censored. That's why you don't swear in wrestling. That's why you should have found a way to not say go fuck yourself. Say, no. You could have just said no, but instead he said go fuck yourself, and it got censored, so the punchline kind of landed flat, but you had to go and watch it on the internet, because that's what AEW does. They make you go the extra mile just to follow their simple main stories that they have on their TV shows. They make it extra complicated for you because you got to be a super nerd to know what's going on in AEW, or a diehard wrestling fan. But really, you're a nerd who's doing nothing on Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday nights but watching professional wrestling. I mean, I just don't have the time for it. And I'm a nerd. You got to be a super nerd.
Too much wrestling.
It's too much. Tony Khan.
I agree.
Yeah. All right, guys. Enough of me, enough of you, enough of us. We'll be back tomorrow night for Wrestling Uncensored right here on the Ringside Report Network. Thanks for sticking with us to the end. We would really appreciate it if you could help us spread the word. Please share this episode on whichever social media platform you use. Add a comment below and consider reviewing us on Apple Podcasts. We are an audience-supported network, so consider becoming a recurring supporter at membership.ringsidereport.net. Check out our website at ringsidereport.net. Hope to see you again next time, and have a good night.